Hi everyone, trust you all are doing well and welcome to a new lesson. Now what we're going to do in this one, if you guys remember what we have done in the previous lesson, we just created our reply model and our replyable interface right here. So what we're going to set up now is we're going to create a controller under our HTTP controllers. We're going to create a new controller right here for our replies. Okay, so let's go and create a controller. So open up your terminal. Right, so what we're going to do is PHP artisan make, and then we're just going to say controller. And the controller will basically go under pages, thread, reply controller. Okay, now I'm going to include the model. No, let's leave the model out for now. We're going to include that on our own because I want to go through the steps step by step. All right, there's a couple of things that we need to explain and stuff like that. Okay, so you create a controller, you press enter. As you can see, the controller is created. So if we go to app, HTTP controllers pages, we will have our reply controller. But for me, I'm opening it with like this reply. Okay, so now we got our controller open. Okay, now the first thing that I'm going to do, I'm going to create a public function. Construct method, okay, and just return this middleware. Okay. Now the middleware, I want the user to be authenticated to reply. Okay, so they must be logged in. And another thing I want, before they can reply, the emails must be verified. Okay, so the first thing is we can just gonna put it in an array. We're just gonna do the authenticate. Okay, so that as you can see, the middleware is imported there at the top. Okay, so authenticate class. The other one is ensure email is verified class. Okay, so just make sure that you import that at the top as well. The other way that you can do it, this I'm just showing for the people that are new. Let's just copy this down. So you could have done auth. Okay, so auth like this, or you could have done with this one, you replace with verify. All right, so that's, you could have done either or. Now the only difference between the two is this is just basically returning the same route. It's this like it will just return the same route. So if we go to our kernel right here, as you can see, the auth right there returns the same route or path to that class. Okay, the verify does the same thing. Okay, so for me personally, this will works a little bit better for me because I can know where the class is and I can actually go to the class itself. All right. So yes. All right. So let me leave it as that. All right. The next part that I want to do is I want to create the route file for our replies. Okay. So let's go. So after we created our controller, I want to create all the routes necessary for our replies one shot. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do, you go to your routes and then you go to web right here. Okay. Okay, so we're going to create another route group, and that's basically going to be for our replies. So let's just create another route group. Okay, is that. Okay, so this one is going to be have a prefix. Prefix replies. Okay, and they're going to have an as. This is basically the name of the routes. Okay, replies dot. After that, we create a function. We could have copied and pasted it down. All right, we could have done that, but I'm not going to do that. The reason for that is just to, if you keep on typing things out, especially when you're learning, it just creates like a muscle memory just to know how to type it out, because if you just copy and paste, it doesn't stick in your head. So you always have to kind of go back and look how it's done and stuff like that. Okay, so the first one, this I'm just going to call this replies, and this is going to replies. Okay, the first route that we're going to do is we're not going to have an index route, but we're going to add that maybe later, so that the user will basically see all their replies that they have done. Okay, or if someone go to their profile, see their latest replies and things like that. We're going to get to that part. We're going to do the store, edit, update, and delete routes. We're going to create that now. Okay, so we're going to create a post route for our store. Right, and that's going to go to obviously replies. Okay, and then we're just going to bring in our reply controller. Okay, so just make sure that you bring it in. As you can see, my reply controller is up there. Okay, so if you haven't done it, just bring it in. Right, this is just going to go to our store method. Okay, so we haven't created this method in our controller yet. So if we go there, there's nothing in here. Right, so we're still going to do that, because I will be dealing with the methods individually, because we're going to create a job for the store and a job for the update and a job for the delete. All right, so we got our reply right there. So we're going to create a store, and then we're just going to create the name store like this. All right, now what I'm going to do, I'm just going to copy this one down 4 times. All right, so the one is going to be for the edit. So I'm just going to put in the reply right here. And I'm going to use the reply. Let's just use the ID. Right, and I'm just going to / that with an edit. And this is going to go to the edit view. And this is going to be a get route. Okay, so the edit view, this is getting the view. So it must be a get method. Okay, and I'm just going to rename this to edit. Okay, the next one is also going to be a put route, not a post route. We're going to make a put route. And this is basically going to go to that reply. And this is going to be the update. Right, so we will get to these methods, like I said before, in their own lessons. Okay, so we're going to create them separately on their own, but for now we just want to create the routes for them. All right, the next one is going to be a delete route, so we're just going to put the delete in here. All right, then the delete route will just be apply again, so there'll be no which route we're dealing with. So I'm thinking, just remember when we did the thread controller, we used Laravel to delete a thread. We might use the same thing, but for now, let's just create the route. So if we decide to change it, we're going to change it. Okay, so we got our reply right there, and this is just going to go to the delete, destroy actually. Destroy, because if you create a, let me just open a controller quickly, thread controller. No. If you create a controller, it will normally come with, let's see if we've got one open, tag controller, admin. Let's go to the tag controller. You will see they have, when you create a resource route, it will actually create a method inside it called destroy. Okay, so that's the one that we're referencing right here. Okay, and then we're just going to call this delete. So basically, replies.delete. All right, so we set it up our 4 routes right here. So we've got our post route for our store, get route for our edit, put route for our update, and our delete route for obviously deleting a reply. Right, so we've got our routes all set up. So what we're going to do in the next lesson is we will be dealing with the methods inside our controller, but we also be able to, before we do that, we actually need to create another trade that actually handles, for instance, let's go to our model right here, our thread model. this model right here needs to be able to receive replies. So we're going to create a trade, use as replies, okay, just to kind of set up that relationship and that some extra methods, okay. Or we can actually say receive replies. Can both ways work. It doesn't matter, but I think I'm going to go for has replies or receive replies trait. We're going to do that also in the next one, but we're going to deal with individual methods also. So yes, so what we're going to do in the next lesson is let's create the trait first, and then we're going to deal with that method, because in order to store, we need the trait to be actually created. All right, so thank you guys for watching. If you like the video, please give it a like. If you don't, please give it a dislike, and some positive or negative feedback always appreciated. Thank you guys, and see you in the next one.